Hey everybody, Dimitri here with Serg Supply. We're standing back in the Sprinter 144 and today we're going to take you through wall panel installation. So grab your tools, grab your hardware, and let's dive right in. As far as tools go for this project, you're going to want a rib nut installation tool. You're going to want a step bit. This does come with your kit. Last but not least, you're going to want a Phillips head screwdriver. We never use power tools to thread machine screws into rib nuts. Keep that in mind as you work through the rest of these steps. Okay, to start, the first thing you're going to want to do is locate all the factory holes throughout your vehicle. You can hold the panels up in place to find these, but they usually look like this, smaller variation being a 2 to 3 millimeter hole, but the panels will be a good indicator of where they are. And you're going to use the step bit included with your kit to drill these out. Don't worry about pushing too hard. This is not anywhere near long enough to hit the outside wall of your vehicle. Don't worry about damage. So just bust through all these holes, and I'm going to show you how to use the rib nut tool next. So while the drill is in this position, this is actually a really good time for you to check the angle of the rib nut. You have to remember your panels are going to match the angle of the wall. So if you're putting all of your rib nuts in like so, you're going to have some stripped rib nuts as you're installing the wall panel kit. So take this time to try to get the drill and rib nut as perpendicular to the surface as possible. You can also look at it from this direction and make sure left to right, you're good to go. Once it's where you want it, you can go ahead and unscrew it by hand, or you can use your drill to back this thing out. So this is much easier with a helping hand, but if you're doing it alone, a little trick we like to use is to put your screwdriver through one of the unused holes, set it in the rib nut, and then you can actually use this to guide your panel pretty straight. Once it's where you want it, you're going to want to put these screws with finish washers through these holes, thread them into your rib nut, and go ahead and tighten them all down lightly. You're not going to hit them real tight till the very end. As you're doing the installation, you might run into parts that are a little tricky. This is one of them. It's worth mentioning. This top corner of this panel has a metal flange right around where it's supposed to go. Tends to clip there, so get a helping hand. It's always easier with two people. Try to get it up above that lip. If you have your Go-Code kit installed already, you can slide this behind. If you're feeling very crafty, you can always trim the Go-Code kit. We've actually pushed this out and released it from the wall to give us a little bit more room to work with. And the last thing that I would advise doing is there's a metal clip on the back side of this pillar mount that just slides up to remove. I would take that out before you start. You can always try to drill a hole through the panel to get it back in, but we find it's often necessary. So as you're going through this process, you may notice that there are some holes on this kit that are not on your vehicle. We've added these ourselves to prevent vibration here in the center section. So you can lightly mount your panel without tightening everything down, but you go back and either use the drill bit directly in these holes as centered as you can get, or take a Sharpie and mark them. You're going to want to peel this panel back, install rib nuts in these holes, and put it all back, tighten it down. All right, so we're sitting here with this panel, and you'll notice this big bundle of wires here. This is for our EcoFlow power system, and throughout the entire process, we are always keeping electrical in mind. So what we typically do in this step, and I'd recommend for others, of course you don't have to, is we're going to make a rather large hole. I have a 3.5 inch hole saw here. We're going to pull all the wiring out. The actual position of this hole for us doesn't matter because we're having our own wheel well boxes fit right here to enclose the power system. So we choose to go with bigger holes for a little more flexibility. The size of the hole is really up to you. You can use rubber grommets, plastic grommets, whatever have you. In this case, wire loom is going to be plenty for us on these panels. So we're going to go ahead and make that hole, pull the wiring through, and mount this panel. Now, all of our wiring is fed through. We can wrap it up, tie it away later. Now we're going to hop right back into fastening this in place and finish this guy out. All right, as we work our way towards the back here, just keep in mind if you have the Go-Code rear threshold kit, you're going to have to push that plastic in as you push the panel to the wall. It's meant to be under tension, so don't worry if you feel a little bit of fight on the way in. Doesn't matter. All right, so we're mounting this last panel here. I mentioned with the other side, you got to keep electrical in mind. We have outlets coming out of this wall, so we made a neat hole here. It's quite literally just a 1 inch hole saw, multi-tool to do the straight cuts. And that way we can take all of our wiring, put it through that channel so we have nothing obstructing as we're mounting the last part of this panel. We can go ahead, just like with the other side, put the screws in, and we're done. Most of our wall panels come in one of two styles in the back, either just solid panels or panels with trim rings for your van speed capsules. If you do have trim rings for van speed capsules and you want to know how to put those on, there's another video on our channel going over that. Regardless, we're going to go ahead and move ahead with putting this on, adding those two rib nuts like we did on the other side, finishing this side out. Jen. Pardon me. There you have it, folks. The wall panel's installed. We've got our trim rings installed. We just slid our backings in place. These will come with the trim rings if you order it through Serg Supply. Put the fasteners through the pre-drilled holes and you're just about finished up. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. We're here to help. And as always, happy building.